Okay, in this video, we're going to go from standard to vertex form, which is the opposite of what we did in our last lesson. Starting with this equation here, y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9, we're going to go ahead and one of the easiest ways is to use algebra tiles and do an illustration to figure out what it looks like in vertex form. So I'm going to start with the x squared, so that's x by x. And then I'm going to add the 6x pieces one at a time. So there's 1x, there's 1x, 2x, 3x, and then we have 4x, 5x, 6x. If I were to extend these, we have our x squared. Then we have 1x, 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 1x for a total of 6x. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for our 9 individual units. This piece is x. This piece is 1, 2, 3, 3 tall, making the vertex form x minus 3 squared. Easy way to determine the symbol here is to go with the symbol that's in the middle term. We're going to now take this and graph it. So we had x minus 3 squared, and we need to know the vertex. And to find the vertex, we're going to do the opposite of x because there's already subtraction in the formula. So that gives me 3 instead of the negative 3. And since there's no number on the outside, that makes my y 0. Now to have a more exact graph, we're going to take a table of values. I'm going to put 3, 0 in the center. I'm going to pick 2 numbers before 3, so 1, 2, and 2 numbers after, 4, 5. I'm going to substitute each of these numbers into my equation here. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2 squared is positive 4. Down here, we're going to do 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 squared is 4. I hope you see the reason why I picked these numbers is the pretty pattern. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Let's go ahead and plot these points. We have 1, 4. So over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 2, 1. We have 3, 0. We have 4, 1. And we have 5, 4. Connecting our dots, there we have our parabola. Okay, now this is a slightly different problem, and I want you to focus on the end piece for a second, this plus 2. In the last problem, we had y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. And if you recall, I asked what was special about 9. And I heard things like it's positive because it's plus 9, and 9's an odd number. And eventually we came to the fact that 9 is a perfect square, because 3 times 3 is 9, or if I take the square root of 9, I get a whole number. Now, will my shortcut method that I'm going to talk about later to write the equation, will that work if this is a plus 2? It's not going to, because 2 is not a perfect square. So we're going to have to make some adjustments to our equation. We're still going to start with building, using our algebra tiles and building the equation. And then let's see if we can figure out how to make our adjustments. So we're going to start with our x squared. We need 4 side pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to take a pen to emphasize the overlap. So we have the overlap here, here, here. Okay, so that gives us the x squared, and then we have 1x, 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 1x for a total of 4x. And then my individual units, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 individual units, but I only want 2. So what do I need to do? I need to get rid of 2 of these. How do we mathematically show getting rid of 2? We're going to subtract 2. Okay, going back to the original quilt block, if we think of this as our quilt block, this was x, this is too tall. So the expression for the whole image is x plus 2 squared, and we're getting rid of 2 of the squares. Let's double check and make sure that this works. Using the shortcut method, and again, this only works because the lead coefficient is a 1 in front of my variable. So I have x squared plus 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to bring down the minus 2. I'm going to combine like terms. I get x squared plus 4x plus 2, which matches my original problem. So I did that correctly. Okay, so we're going to take the vertex form because now that I have it in vertex form, I can easily graph it. In vertex form, it was x plus 2 squared minus 2. And remember, when I find the vertex, I do the opposite of the x, so that's going to be negative 2. I keep my y, negative 2. I want a table of values to have a more accurate graph, so I have negative 2, negative 2. I'm going to pick 2 numbers before negative 2, or after negative 2, and they are negative 1 and 0, and 2 before, negative 3, negative 4. Let's go ahead and plug these in. 0 plus 2 is 2 squared. 0 plus 2 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. Minus 2 is 2. And if I were to plug in negative 4, I would get in the same answer. That's why I chose them, because they're equidistant away from my negative 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Minus 2 is negative 1. And this is also negative 1. We're going to go ahead and plot our points. 0, 2. Negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, and negative 4, positive 2. Connect them, and there we have our pretty little parabola. Okay, let's look at another one of these. Okay, same thing. My 20 is not perfect, so we got to figure out how to adjust our equation. So I'm going to start with my x squared. I need 8 pieces that need to be evenly distributed on my sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get this out of the way. Okay, I'm going to extend my pieces so that they show the overlap. Okay. Get those out of the way. So if I extend this line, this line, this line, this line, extend, 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 so I can see the single unit. Okay, once again, this is my x squared. This is 1x, 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 1x for a total of 8x. And then let's count out our individual units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Uh-oh, I've come up short. I wanted 20. So I need to add on 4 more individual units to get me to 20. I need to add on 4 additional pieces. Okay, so now we're going to focus back on the original quilt block. This was x and this is 4, making it x plus 4 squared. And then we have the plus 4 to get us to 20. Let's quickly double check. We have x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus 4. This will give me my 20. So we did it correctly. Building using the algebra tiles is one method. Let's look at another method. Okay, if you think back to our warm-up yesterday, we had warm-up problems where it was x squared plus 14x plus blank. And I wanted you to complete the square. And to complete the square, we looked at the b value, which is 14. We divided it by 2, and we got 7. And then we squared that to get 49. So for this piece here, if I were to write that in vertex form, it would be x plus 7 squared. And that would give me x squared plus 14x plus 49. But that's not what I want. I want x squared plus 4x plus 48. So I need to look at how do I get from 49 to 48? I do that by subtracting 1. So this would be my vertex form for this equation. Okay, that might have seemed a little fast, so we're going to do it again. If you were really good at completing the square, this method is a little bit easier than drawing the algebra tiles. Okay, same thing. We're going to look at the AB part. We have x squared plus 10x plus what? When I complete the square, I'm going to ignore the 27 for right now. Okay, so I'm going to take half of this, which is 5. And 5 squared is 25. I don't want 25, I want 27. How do I get there? I add on 2 more. Okay, so again, we took the A and B part, we completed the square using those, and then we determined how to get from my new C to the C in the problem, and I did that by adding 2. Let's try another one. Don't forget, at any time you can pause the video so the answer's not revealed before you're ready. Okay, I'm going to start with the x squared plus 6x plus what? Half of 6 is 3, so x plus 3. And 3 squared is 9. How do I get from 9 to 5? I subtract 4. So my answer would be x plus 3 squared minus 4. Okay, this one is from your homework sheet. So let's look at this. We're going to start with the x squared minus 6x plus what? So half of negative 6 is negative 3. And then we're going to square that. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. How do I go from 9 to 7? I'm going to go ahead and I am going to subtract 2. You need to decide for you which method works best. Do you need to see an illustration, or do you like completing the square and finding the difference between the problem and you're completing the square? Whichever method works for you, stick with it.